The peaceful colonies on Earth's outermost worlds had always been safe, isolated from the chaos that sometimes rocked the home planet. These colonies, built over decades of exploration and hard work, had grown into thriving centers of life. The people there, far from the reach of Earth's governments, had formed their own identities, cultures, and systems of governance. It was a quiet existence, but that peace was shattered when, without warning, a massive attack came from the stars. A strange alien fleet appeared in the sky far beyond any human radar. They were fast and precise, too fast for Earth to prepare. The first bomb fell on the colony of Oros 4, a small but vibrant agricultural world. It was supposed to be a message. Earth's colonies were no longer safe. But this attack, violent as it was, held deeper consequences than the alien invaders could have predicted. The bombings were quick, relentless, and terrifying. The aliens didn't waste time. They obliterated civilian centers, destroying homes, fields, and entire communities. As the dust settled and the emergency broadcast began, the people of Earth and its colonies were thrown into panic. How could this happen? Who were these invaders? And what did they want? Back on Earth, the governments reacted slowly at first. The attacks were too far from the home world, and the people too used to their isolation. The news was grim, but it didn't make the Earth's governments act quickly. It wasn't until the attacks expanded, taking out more colonies, that Earth's leadership began to take action. The bombings continued, spreading across the stars like wildfire, each explosion marking another wound in humanity's fragile empire. But this alien race underestimated humanity in a way that would soon be their downfall. The attacks had a strange effect on Earth's people. While fear gripped most, others, many on Earth's military base stations, began to remember something, long forgotten. These memories weren't just about survival or defense. They were about something much more dangerous, about the time before peace. The time when humanity was feared across the galaxy. In the deepest corners of Earth's history, there were records of battles and weapons so powerful they had been sealed away, locked beneath layers of forgotten knowledge. These were ancient war machines, massive and powerful, designed for a time when humanity had been much more than explorers. They were created during a forgotten era, when Earth had been at war with other galactic species. But as time passed, humanity chose peace. The ancient machines had been hidden, the knowledge buried, and the threats forgotten. Yet the bombings had triggered something deep within humanity's collective memory. It was as if the Earth itself had been waiting for this moment. The peaceful facade had been shattered, and now a long-dormant fury began to stir. As the news of the continued attack spread, whispers began to spread across the military bases. The Titans are still there. The alien forces had unwittingly awakened something that no one expected: humanity's old weapons, and the galaxy would soon learn that when the sleeping giants of Earth awoke, they would be unstoppable. The news spread quickly across Earth and its colonies. The alien forces had attacked again, and the destruction was worse than ever. Entire colonies were wiped out, leaving nothing but rubble and ash in their wake. Panic gripped the people of Earth. The distant colonies, once thought safe and beyond reach, were no longer secure. Everyone was asking the same question: why did they attack? On Earth, the government held an emergency meeting. Leaders gathered in a secret underground bunker to discuss the situation. They knew they had to act quickly, but they also knew that the alien invaders were far more powerful than they had anticipated. Earth's military forces were no match for the technologically advanced alien fleet. But what the aliens didn't know was that humanity had always kept a secret, something far beyond their imagination. While the government debated how to respond, whispers of ancient history began to surface. Forgotten records from the past started to make their way into the hands of those who needed them most: Earth's military commanders. These records spoke of a time long ago, when humanity was at war with other alien species. It was a time before the peace that had lasted for so long, when Earth had created weapons so powerful that even the most advanced alien races had feared them. But as humanity's need for war faded, so did the weapons. They were hidden away, buried deep beneath the Earth, sealed and forgotten. Until now. General Alara Voss, a respected leader within Earth's military, was one of the first to hear the rumors of these ancient weapons. She had heard stories but never thought they were real. Now, with Earth's colonies under attack, she realized the truth. The war machines, the Titans, were real, and they were the key to humanity's survival. But only a few knew where they were buried, and fewer still had the knowledge to activate them. Alara was determined to find them. As the government scrambled to put together a response, Alara began to gather a team of the best military minds and experts. They had to be prepared. The alien invaders were ruthless, but humanity's past held a power they could not ignore. Alara and her team began combing through ancient archives and secret military databases, trying to unlock the secrets of the Titans. The task was not easy, and every step felt like a race against time. The aliens were not stopping, and every day they bombarded more colonies. It was a matter of survival now. One by one, the pieces began to fall into place. Alara's team discovered the locations of the hidden war machines, scattered across Earth's most remote regions. These machines, giant and powerful, had been designed for the sole purpose of protecting humanity from threats like the one they were facing now. But no one knew how to operate them. The technology was ancient, far beyond anything the modern world had ever seen. Yet, there was a glimmer of hope. They had to act quickly. There was no time to waste. As the days passed and the situation grew worse, Alara's team prepared for the impossible. The Titans had been buried for centuries, and now, humanity's last hope rested on these ancient, forgotten machines. The aliens had made their move, but they had no idea what they had just awakened. The sleeping giants of Earth were ready to rise, and humanity was about to show the galaxy what it truly meant to be feared. The days grew tense as the race to find the Titans continued. General Alara Voss and her team worked tirelessly, moving from one hidden location to another. The alien invaders had no idea what was coming, but Earth's military was preparing for a war that would change the galaxy forever. As Alara and her team followed the ancient records, they traveled to the most remote parts of Earth. Each location they visited seemed to be more isolated and forgotten than the last. The machines were buried deep beneath the Earth's surface, hidden away from the world for centuries. The people who had once built them had left no trace behind, but their legacy remained, waiting to be discovered. In one of the most desolate regions, Alara's team uncovered a hidden entrance deep in a mountain. The entrance was sealed with heavy metal doors, rusted from years of neglect, but still holding firm. The markings on the door were unfamiliar, but they matched the ancient records Alara had studied. With careful precision, the team worked to unlock the doors, their hearts pounding in anticipation. They knew that within these walls, the key to humanity's survival lay dormant, waiting to be activated. When the doors finally creaked open, they revealed a massive underground hangar. Inside, there were several of the war machines, Titans, lined up, their enormous frames covered in dust and years of neglect. The Titans were unlike anything humanity had ever seen. Towering over the humans, they were massive mechanical beasts, each one equipped with weapons and armor that could level entire cities. They were built for one purpose: to protect Earth from the most dangerous threats in the galaxy. Alara couldn't believe her eyes. These machines, thought to be nothing more than legends, were real. The sheer power and scale of the Titans took her breath away. They were ancient, yes, but they had been built to last, to survive for centuries, without need for maintenance. It was as if the machines were waiting, frozen in time, until humanity needed them once again. But there was one problem. The Titans had been deactivated for so long that no one knew how to bring them back to life. The technology was far beyond anything in modern Earth's knowledge. Alara and her team worked day and night, poring over ancient manuals and blueprints. Slowly, they began to unlock the secrets of the Titans, finding ways to restart their systems and reprogram their control interfaces. After days of struggle, they succeeded. One by one, the Titans began to power up. Their colossal forms groaned to life as the energy coursed through their systems. Massive engines roared, and the machines slowly came to life. The room shook as they stood tall once again. Humanity's ancient protectors had awakened. The moment was overwhelming. These machines, designed to defend Earth from the most powerful enemies, were now ready to fight once more. The Titan systems flickered to life, and Ilara and her team climbed into the cockpit of each one. The machines were complex, but the knowledge of their operations came to them instinctively. They were now connected to Earth's most powerful weapons, ready to join the fight against the alien invaders. The Titans were no longer just legends. They were humanity's last hope, and they were ready to rise and take the battle to the stars. The sleeping giants had awoken, and the galaxy would soon learn that humans were no longer a peaceful species. They were a force to be reckoned with. With the Titans now fully activated, Earth's military was no longer the small defensive force it had once been. It had become something much larger, much more powerful. General Ilara Voss stood in front of a massive holographic display, her eyes scanning the data from the newly revived war machines. The ancient weapons, now reprogrammed and ready for battle, were Earth's greatest chance at surviving the alien assault. Ilara's face was grim as she reviewed the intelligence reports. The alien invaders had launched another devastating strike on the colonies, this time targeting Earth's closest space stations. Their tactics were brutal and efficient, leaving little room for human retaliation. The invaders had underestimated humanity for too long, but now, with the Titans ready, things would change. The first Titan, Titanus I, was fully operational, its massive frame towering over the control deck. Ilara stepped into the cockpit, her team at the ready. The controls felt strange at first, but with a few practice movements, she quickly adapted. The Titan responded as if it had always been in use, its systems synchronizing with her every command. She could feel the raw power beneath her, the sheer force of this ancient war machine that had once struck fear into the hearts of alien races. The other Titans were coming online one by one. Each machine was unique, tailored to different styles of warfare. Some were equipped for heavy assault, others for tactical strikes, and a few were designed for defense, with shields strong enough to withstand an entire fleet's fire. Together they formed the perfect army, each Titan a living, breathing weapon. The next challenge was how to use these machines. While they were powerful, Ilara knew they couldn't fight the entire war alone. She reached out to Earth's remaining military forces, calling for an emergency mobilization. The response was overwhelming. Governments on Earth, once divided by politics and distance, now united under the same banner. Every military base, every spaceport, and every colony that could spare a soldier sent troops to Earth's central command. Within days, Earth's space fleet was fully operational, ready to launch its first wave of counterattacks. The Titan forces would serve as the vanguard, leading the charge against the alien invaders, supported by Earth's fleet of warships. The strategy was simple: strike hard, strike fast, and show the galaxy that humanity would not go quietly into the night. Ilara stood in front of the gathered forces, her voice steady as she addressed them. The aliens think they can crush us. They think they can take our colonies and destroy our way of life, but they don't know us. They don't know what we're capable of. We've been silent for too long, but now they've woken the sleeping giants of Earth. We will not back down. We will fight and we will win. The crowd erupted in cheers. Humanity's warriors, once uncertain and scattered, now stood united. With the Titans leading the charge, Earth's military was no longer just a defensive force. It had become an unstoppable machine of war. The first battle was set. The invaders would soon learn that the real strength of humanity had never been in its peaceful ways. It had always been in its ability to fight back, to rise when threatened, and to defend what was theirs. The war for Earth's survival was about to begin, and humanity had just unleashed its greatest weapon. The Titans would lead the way, and the galaxy would never be the same. The air was thick with tension as General Ilara Voss prepared for the first major offensive. The enemy had struck at humanity's colonies, leaving destruction in their wake. Now it was time for Earth's forces to strike back. The Titans, humanity's ancient war machines, stood ready, massive, powerful, and unstoppable. Each one hummed with energy, their systems synchronized and ready for the battle that would mark the beginning of Earth's fight for survival. The alien invaders had no idea what they had awoken. They thought Earth was weak, unprepared, and isolated. But they were wrong. With the Titans in their arsenal, humanity was about to deliver a blow that would echo across the galaxy. The alien forces, emboldened by their initial victories, had gathered in force around a major colony that had been abandoned by Earth's fleets. It was time for Alara and her team to show them just how wrong they were. From Earth's command center, Alara watched as her team prepared for launch. The Titans were lined up, their massive frames towering over the assembly area. Each one was ready to move, equipped with weapons that could obliterate anything in their path. Alara's Titan, Titanus 1, was the first to power up. The control systems felt familiar now, almost as if she and the machine had become one. As she issued the command, the Titan's massive feet moved, each step shaking the ground beneath them. "We're moving out," Alara said, her voice steady but full of purpose. She gave one last look at the team gathered around her. Let's remind them who they're dealing with. The first wave of humanity's counterattack began. The Titans marched forward, their heavy footsteps resounding like thunder. The alien forces stationed on the planet's surface saw the massive machines approach and froze. The battle had been long anticipated, but the sight of the Titans was something none of the invaders had expected. These were not mere soldiers. They were gods of war, giants that had slumbered for centuries now awake and filled with the fury of humanity. The alien fleet, stationed in orbit above the colony, scrambled to respond. They launched a barrage of missiles. But the Titans moved with precision, their massive shields absorbing the enemy fire with ease. Titanus 1, under Alara's command, raised its arm and fired its main cannon, sending a blast of energy that tore through the alien defenses. The impact shook the ground, and the alien forces on the planet's surface were sent into disarray. The invaders had never seen anything like this before. As Alara led her team into the heart of the battle, Earth's fleets followed in their wake, providing air support and taking down alien ships attempting to flee the battlefield. The alien invaders, once confident in their superiority, now found themselves on the defensive. Their warships, unable to withstand the force of humanity's combined might, began to retreat one by one. But Alara knew this was just the beginning. The first assault had been a success, but the war was far from over. The aliens would regroup and they would come back stronger. Earth's forces needed to prepare for the next phase, but for now the victory was theirs. The Titans had delivered the first blow, and the message had been clear. Humanity was no longer the prey. They were the predators. As the dust settled over the battlefield, Alara looked out over the ruins of the alien forces. For the first time since the war had begun, she allowed herself a moment of hope. The fight was far from over, but humanity had proven one thing. The sleeping giants had awakened and they were unstoppable. The aliens had made a grave mistake, and now Earth was ready to reclaim its place in the galaxy. The victory at the colony was just the beginning. After the first assault, Earth's military forces felt a renewed sense of purpose. The Titans, once thought to be lost to time, had proven their worth. The alien invaders, though defeated for the moment, had not retreated far. Their remaining fleet had scattered, but their leaders were plotting, regrouping, and preparing for the next wave of attack. Earth had delivered a powerful blow, but the war was far from over. General Alara Voss stood in front of her team, preparing for the next phase of their campaign. The control room was filled with the hum of activity, pilots, strategists, and engineers all working in sync. The command center was alive with the buzz of communication, and the mood was tense but optimistic. The war machines, humanity's Titans, stood ready. Earth's fleet was fully mobilized, and Alara's team was prepared to strike again. This time, they would go on the offensive, taking the battle directly to the alien heart. "Report," Alara said, her voice calm but firm. Her hands were resting on the table in front of her, eyes scanning the battle data on the holographic display. The room fell silent for a moment before one of the officers spoke up. "We've identified the location of the alien command center," the officer said, pointing to the map. "It's on a remote world near the outer edge of their territory. We believe it's where they're regrouping and planning their next move." Alara nodded. "We strike now, no more waiting. We take the fight to them before they can rebuild." The plan was simple. Earth's fleet would lead the charge, with the Titans following behind. Their goal was to strike the alien command center and crush any resistance they encountered. The alien forces had been shaken by their previous defeat, but they were still dangerous. Alara knew that they could not afford to underestimate them. As the fleet made its way toward the alien-controlled world, the tension grew. The alien defenses were formidable, but Earth's forces had the upper hand. The Titans, with their unmatched power and advanced weaponry, were the key to the mission's success. Alara's Titan, Titanus I, led the charge, moving swiftly across the battlefield with the others following closely behind. The alien fleet stationed above the planet was ready for a fight, but they were unprepared for the sheer force of the human counterattack. As the first Titan's massive feet hit the surface of the planet, a shockwave rippled through the ground, and the alien defenses began to fall apart. Energy beams from the Titans rained down, striking enemy positions with pinpoint accuracy. The aliens fought back, but their weapons were no match for the Titans' defenses. The battle raged for hours. Earth's forces pressed forward, with the Titans cutting through alien resistance like a blade through paper. The alien command center was within reach, and Alara could feel the weight of the moment. This was more than just a victory. It was a statement. Humanity was no longer the underdog. They were a force to be reckoned with. Finally, after hours of relentless fighting, Earth's forces reached the alien command center. The Titans moved in, crushing everything in their path. With one final blast from Titanus I, the alien command center was destroyed, sending shockwaves through the alien fleet. The invaders had lost their last stronghold. As the dust settled, Alara stood in front of her Titan, watching the wreckage of the alien forces. Earth had struck back with everything they had, and the invaders had been forced to retreat. The message had been sent loud and clear. Humanity would not be defeated. The war was far from over, but Earth had proven that it was a force to be reckoned with. The Titans had led the charge, and humanity had taken the first step toward reclaiming their place in the galaxy. The victory at the alien command center was a turning point in the war, but it was clear that humanity's fight was far from over. While Earth's forces celebrated their hard-won success, they knew that the enemy was regrouping and preparing for their next move. The alien invaders, though wounded, were not defeated. They were resilient, and they still held control over key parts of the galaxy. Humanity had struck back, but now they needed more than just firepower to win this war. They needed allies. As Alara Voss and her team analyzed the aftermath of the battle, new intelligence began to surface. Earth's military leaders had always assumed that they would fight this war alone, but recent events had shown them that the galaxy was more complex than they had realized. Some alien species, who had remained neutral up until this point, were beginning to reach out to Earth. They had witnessed humanity's strength, and many were beginning to question whether the alien invaders were as invincible as they had once believed. Alara sat in a high-security briefing room, surrounded by her most trusted officers. A communication link had been established with an alien race known as the Zythar, a species who had long been neutral in galactic conflicts. The Zythar were an advanced race, with technology that rivaled humanity's own. Though they had never been involved in the war, they had a deep understanding of the galactic landscape and were seen as an influential power among the stars. Their interest in humanity's success could shift the balance of power in the galaxy. "General Voss," the Zythar ambassador's voice came through the screen, his tone respectful but cautious. "We've been watching your progress with great interest. The destruction of the alien command center has caused quite a stir. We believe that your people have the strength to defeat them, but you will need more than just your war machines to succeed. Our people wish to offer their assistance." Alara raised an eyebrow. The Zythar had always been distant, even aloof in their dealings with other races. The fact that they were offering their help now was unexpected, but not unwelcome. She listened closely as the ambassador continued. We have advanced technologies that could assist your forces, as well as intelligence on the alien invaders. That could give you the edge you need. However, our assistance comes with a condition. We want a say in how this war is fought. We've seen what humanity is capable of, but we want to ensure that this war benefits all of us, not just Earth. Alara took a deep breath. This was not an offer to be taken lightly. The Zythar were powerful, but their motives were unclear. Could they be trusted? Would their involvement complicate matters? Still, it was clear that Earth needed all the help it could get. The war had already cost too much, and without allies, humanity's chances of success were slim. We accept your offer, Alara said firmly, her voice steady. We'll work together, but know this. Humanity will never sacrifice its independence. We fight this war on our terms. The Zythar ambassador nodded. Understood, General. Together we will turn the tide. As the communication ended, Alara sat back in her chair, processing the weight of the decision. It was a gamble, but one they had to take. In the coming weeks, more alliances were formed. Other neutral alien races, inspired by humanity's strength, and the Zythar's willingness to join the fight, began to offer their support. Each alliance brought new resources, new technologies, and crucial information about the alien invaders. With these new allies by their side, humanity's military strength grew exponentially. Earth's forces, now bolstered by their new allies, began to prepare for the next phase of the war. The enemy would not go down without a fight, but humanity was no longer alone. They had found support where they least expected it, and now, the war would take on a new, unpredictable dimension. The galaxy had begun to take notice of humanity's resilience. What had started as a single, isolated planet had now become the center of a growing alliance, and the alien invaders would soon learn that they were not the only ones willing to fight for their future. The tide was turning, and humanity was ready to lead the charge. The time for waiting was over. Earth's forces, now bolstered by their new allies, were ready to strike the final blow. The alien invaders had regrouped, but the combined power of humanity and its allies had tipped the scales. The Titans, humanity's ancient war machines, had led the charge so far, but now the battle was about to escalate to a new level. General, Alara Voss stood on the command deck staring at the holographic map in front of her. The alien stronghold was just ahead, heavily fortified and well protected by a fleet of warships. But Earth had something the aliens didn't: unity, determination, and the strength of their new alliances. The Zythar, the Etherians, and several other alien races had all pledged their support, each bringing their own unique technologies and skills to the table. Alara, one of her officers said, breaking her thoughts. We're ready for the assault. Our fleets are in position. The Titans are prepped and ready to lead the way. Alara nodded. The final battle would not be easy, but she knew they had no choice but to push forward. The alien invaders had taken so much from humanity. They had destroyed colonies, murdered civilians, and brought fear to the stars. This was their chance to reclaim the future. We strike hard, strike fast, Alara said, her voice firm. The enemy will expect us to hesitate. They won't expect us to come at them all at once. We show them the power of our alliance. The plan was set. Earth's fleet, reinforced by their alien allies, would break through the enemy's defenses. The Titans would lead the charge, tearing through the alien warships with their unmatched firepower. With each step, humanity's forces would press forward, driving the enemy back until they reached the heart of the alien stronghold. The alien invaders had underestimated humanity before. Now they would face the full force of Earth's determination. As the assault began, the first wave of humanity's forces engaged the alien fleet. The Titans, massive and powerful, moved like living mountains, cutting through the alien ships with ease. The enemy fired everything they had, but the Titans were relentless. Their shields absorbed the blasts and their weapons tore through the alien defenses like paper. The battle was fierce, but Earth's forces had the advantage. They were unified, they were prepared, and they fought with everything they had. In the midst of the chaos, Ilara led her Titan straight into the heart of the battle. Titanus 1 moved swiftly, dodging incoming fire and unleashing a barrage of energy blasts at the alien warships. The enemy fleet was scattered, their coordination falling apart as Earth's forces tore through their ranks. The Titans were unstoppable. Hours passed as the battle raged on, but with each passing moment, the alien resistance weakened. The combined might of humanity and its allies was too much for the invaders to handle. Their warships fell one by one, their defenses crumbling under the relentless assault. Finally, after what seemed like an eternity, Ilara's Titan reached the heart of the enemy stronghold. The alien command center, once thought to be impenetrable, lay before her. With one final blast from Titanus 1's main cannon, the command center was destroyed in a massive explosion, sending shockwaves throughout the entire enemy fleet. The aliens had been defeated. The battle was over. As the dust settled, Ilara stood in the cockpit of her Titan, breathing a sigh of relief. The war was won, and humanity had emerged victorious. The galaxy had watched as Earth rose from the ashes, united and unstoppable. The sleeping giants of Earth had awakened, and their power had changed the course of history. Humanity had proven that they were no longer the underdogs. They were a force to be reckoned with, and the galaxy would never forget the day when Earth's sleeping giants were awakened and led their people to victory. The war was over, but this was only the beginning of humanity's journey. The stars now belonged to them. The final battle had ended in victory, but as General Ilara Voss stood before the wreckage of the alien fleet, she knew the war had changed the galaxy forever. Humanity had faced what seemed like an unbeatable enemy and emerged victorious, but the cost of the war had been high. The lives lost, the colonies destroyed, and the countless hours of fighting had left their mark. Yet amid the victory there was a sense of peace. Earth had shown the galaxy that it would never be defeated. The remnants of the alien invaders were retreating, broken and scattered across the galaxy. They had underestimated humanity from the start, and now they had learned a harsh lesson. Earth would not go down without a fight. The Titans, the ancient war machines that had once been hidden away, had proven to be the deciding factor in this war. With their massive power, they had turned the tide of battle, making Earth's forces nearly unstoppable. As Ilara walked through the command center, her mind was still racing. The victory was clear, but there was much to be done. Humanity now held a position of power in the galaxy, but the true challenge lay in maintaining it. The Zythar, the Etherians, and the other races that had allied with Earth were watching closely. They had seen what Earth's people were capable of, and they would be looking for signs of strength, unity, and resolve. But Ilara knew something that no one else did. Humanity had changed during this war. The people of Earth had discovered a strength they didn't know they had. They had fought not just for survival, but for something more, their place in the galaxy. They had proved that they were not just survivors, they were leaders, and they would carve out their future among the stars. As the Earth fleet made its way back to the homeworld, the celebrations began. The colonies that had once been in ruins were now being rebuilt, and the wounded were receiving care and support. Earth's military had proven to be a force of unrivaled strength, but the rebuilding efforts would take time. It was not just the physical structures that needed repair, the spirit of humanity had to be restored as well. Ilara sat in her quarters, looking out at the stars. The future was uncertain, but one thing was clear: humanity would not be the same. The war had forged a new path, and Earth was now a central power in the galaxy. There was no going back. The sleeping giants had awoken, and humanity had claimed its place among the stars. The alien invaders, now defeated, had once thought Earth weak and insignificant. They had learned the hard way that humanity was anything but. The galaxy would now watch as Earth rose, not just as a survivor, but as a leader. As Ilara turned away from the view, she knew that the war was over, but humanity's journey had only just begun. The future held many unknowns, but one thing was certain. Earth had found its place in the galaxy, and the sleeping giants were ready to stand guard, ensuring that humanity would never again be overlooked. The galaxy had learned the true strength of humanity, and that strength would carry them forward into a new era. The giants had awakened and the dawn of a new age had begun. The war was over, but the echoes of its battles still lingered in the minds of those who had fought and survived. General Ilara Voss stood on the balcony of the Earth Command Center, gazing out at the vast expanse of space. The stars twinkled brightly, but for the first time in many years, Ilara could see them clearly without the shadow of war hanging over them. The alien invaders had been driven out, and humanity had emerged victorious. But the galaxy was forever changed. Earth had stood alone for so long, isolated and underestimated, but now humanity had proven its strength. They had fought not only for their survival, but for a place in the galaxy that no one would dare take away. The Titans had played a crucial role in the war's outcome, their immense power unmatched by any of the enemy's weapons. But as Ilara thought back on the battle, she knew it wasn't just the machines that had won the war, it was the will of the people. The people of Earth had come together in ways they never thought possible, uniting under a single banner and fighting with a passion that no alien force could ever understand. The final victory had been a hard-fought one. The last remnants of the alien fleet had been shattered, their forces scattered across the galaxy, broken and defeated. But the real challenge was only just beginning. The galaxy was vast, and many races once neutral or distant were now looking to Earth for leadership. Ilara knew that the price of peace would be constant vigilance. Humanity had won the war, but there was much work to be done to rebuild, to ensure that this peace would last. Ilara turned away from the stars and walked back into the command center. Her team had been busy with the reconstruction efforts, and every corner of Earth and its colonies was alive with activity. The people were determined to rebuild, not just their homes and cities, but their way of life. The fear that had gripped them during the war was slowly being replaced with a newfound sense of hope and pride. In the coming months, Earth's influence spread across the galaxy. The Gizithar, the Etherians, and many other races began to forge alliances with humanity, seeing the strength and resilience that had been displayed during the war. Earth was no longer a forgotten corner of the galaxy. It was becoming a central power, one that others looked to for guidance and leadership. But even as Earth's influence grew, Ilara knew that their place in the galaxy would never be fully secure. There would always be threats, challenges, and dangers lurking in the unknown. But now humanity had the strength to face whatever came their way. The Titans, though dormant for now, stood as a reminder of the power that Earth could wield if necessary. As Ilara looked out at the bustling activity around her, she felt a sense of pride swell within her. The war had taken its toll, but humanity had come through it stronger than ever. The sleeping giants of Earth had awoken, and with them, a new era had begun. The war was over, but the future was just beginning. Humanity had proven its place in the galaxy, and there was no turning back. The stars were now within reach, and Earth, once a quiet, isolated world, was ready to lead the way into a new age of exploration, peace, and power. The sleeping giants had risen, and now humanity would stand tall among the stars. The galaxy had learned to never underestimate the strength of Earth again, and with that, a new chapter in humanity's story began.